What's up, and welcome to an episode of the Grindline Podcast. You're listening to episode 184. I'm here tonight with Ryan and Tyler. It is another slow week. How are you guys doing tonight?
Sorry, we have Alavila out there firing up
God.
right now. So
it could be worse.
I would have been happier if he did nothing.
It could not have been worse.
It could be worse. You could be Chaim Bloom in the Boston Red Sox not spending money.
He gave away
the Boston Red Sox.
Literally, like it was probably the equivalent of trading for Chris Draper back in the day.
Except for we're on the other end of it.
What did you get from Michael Fulmer?
Good question.
Dude who throws a ball. It's Steve Baseball. That's his name. And
when Tiger Mike's pissed off, that's all I need to know.
We got
all I got to do is see his reaction, and that's how I know whether or not to be pissed off about this trade in particular.
Tyler, future considerations is a better player than what we got
on both deals for him. I mean, Grossman. Okay, cool, whatever. I get
Robbie
it.
Grossman. We got a guy who was not even ranked in their system. And then for Michael Fulmer, we got their 39th ranked prospect, who is a double-A pitcher.
And not for baseball overall.
No,
for the Twins.
For the team. Their 39th ranked prospect, and he's a double-A pitcher right now.
Well, I'll one up you. We're 3.5 games out of the wild card, and we traded our starting catcher for 2 prospects. And then we went out and got an outfielder. And at first, we got Eric Hosmer for nothing, basically.
Cool, you guys are still better than us. That's nice.
If this was soccer, Tyler, we'd be relegated. That's what would happen right now.
Again.
Well, I will say one thing. Alavila, I don't understand how that guy still has a job. I know we're not a Tigers podcast, but I don't understand how he still has a job. I really don't get it.
Where's Nolan's quote? He had a good one earlier.
He is nude to somebody.
Our friend Nolan Bianchi an hour ago. The Tigers either let Alavila run their trade deadline while knowing he will be fired at the end of the year, or are still considering keeping Alavila beyond this season. Both of these things are completely unacceptable.
So if they didn't want him to run this trade deadline, why didn't they fire him and have an interim do it?
Because it seems like they're not going to fire him. Like Chris Ilitch, it seems like has zero appetite to fire Alavila. And I don't know.
It just makes sense.
The Venn diagram of GMs of like good GM, like Alavila and Steve Yzerman, and like good qualities, there's no overlap there. Like zero overlap. My quote was, so Avila is both not rebuilding the team while giving away people for nothing. Got it. Again, we will lend you Yzerman for 2 weeks.
Like I said, Yzerman is the guy that I trust the most in terms of being a fan of any of the sports teams that I follow.
Well, if you were going Detroit sports, Yzerman would be at the top of the list. You'd probably then have who? Brad Holmes, then Troy Weaver, and then the guy walking on my sidewalk right now, Ryan GMing his daughter's softball, and then Alavila like 456th out of people. You
might as well put Chris Draper on there as an assistant.
Sure.
I think I said this when Daniela was on the podcast. I trust Yzerman more than I trust Bill Belichick, being a Patriots fan.
He's earned the respect. That's what he's earned. And that's part of what we're going to talk about.
Directly winning a cup.
Sure.
I mean, that's other than as a player.
Yeah.
It's still impressive in its own right. I mean, Sakic finally got over that hump this year, but knowing what Yzerman's capable of, and I know we've spoken about this ad nauseum. I mean, he's earned it. Mm-hmm. And you can listen to Woodward Sports, listen to really any Detroit related sports talk show out there.
Anything.
All three major sports, baseball, not one of them.
Nope.
That has respect amongst the fan base, amongst the media, amongst really pretty much anyone that's breathing and has a brain.
Yeah.
Alavila has managed to take this team to the depths of the original shit Tigers back in the late 90s. And it's actually
before Dombrowski took over.
Yep.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. Yzerman's earned the respect, and we're going to talk about tonight a little bit more of what his moves could be coming up here. But I think we're going to start with right off the top after we got our pissed off Tigers rant out of the way. They're garbage. What a garbage organization. I don't understand. But Vladimir Konstantinov, we are running the contest right now. If you go to our Twitter page at GrindLinePod, you can also find it on our Facebook. I put a link to it up on Instagram. I will be making probably tomorrow or Thursday a short TikTok video about it. We are giving away 6 signed copies of Keith Gave's new book, Vlad the Impaler. One person will win the book, a Beat Them shirt, and a Grindline podcast shirt, plus some stickers. All you need to do is follow us on Twitter, retweet the tweet, drop $5 or more into the Vladimir Konstantinov Special Needs Trust, and submit a screenshot in our thread. Right now, last I checked, we are approaching the $400 mark in donations just based off of one day of the contest so far. That's to add to our over $400 in t-shirt design sales. So
got a lot popping off today for t-shirts too.
Yeah. So far, I mean, we were close to $800. I mean, I have wild goals for this. I tagged absolutely everyone. So if you could go join the contest,
I tag them daily for the next 7 days.
I would too. I might. But yeah, if you could go join the contest, enter to win the shirt, donate to Vladdy. It all goes to an amazing cause. We're going to end up doing some more stuff with it too. But that is the contest that is currently happening. And like Keith said, if you go back and listen to our last episode with Keith Gave, it all goes to him, because if he ends up not being able to afford it, he can go to what most would consider a home where people really don't thrive. And the guys he has working for him now know how he needs to be cared for, know his mannerisms and what he likes and what he doesn't like, and can give him the best care possible. But it's very expensive. And that thread too with our contest, we also have the change.org petition to try and get the decision reversed to cut that funding. So check us out, like I said, at GrindLinePod on Twitter. And then the same on Instagram and Grindline Podcast on Facebook. You'll find links to the contest, but we'd love it for everyone to enter. We want to raise a ton of money for Vladdy. Cool.
And really, in a way, I wish we could figure out who's already purchased a Beat Them shirt, because I feel like they should automatically be entered into this contest.
Sure. That's
You know what I
hard.
mean?
They don't give me information, I don't think.
Yeah, it just says if it's US or Canada or wherever they purchase it from. It'd be neat if we could somehow, maybe if you throw out there a message,
like maybe tweet a picture of you in your shirt.
Tweet out something with the shirt that they purchased before even this thing kicked off. As long as they submit it by that point, maybe have them have it so they're entered. Because that money is going to go to
the
GoFundMe. So, and technically majority of the purchases, I believe what we get on the shirt does get them over that $5 threshold that we asked for. So
yeah, I agree. Maybe I'll throw out there that says,
maybe they can DM you if they did it.
Well, I can just say, drop a picture of you in your shirt in the thread.
That works.
And then I can track it that way. But yeah, it all goes to a good cause. And if the Illiches aren't going to do it, then I guess we're going to do it. So if you're listening to this, even if you don't have the means to donate, if you could retweet it or share the contest, that would really help us out. We're trying to get it to as many people as possible. But tonight, I think the bulk of what we're going to talk about, do we want to do the Yzerman stuff first, or do we want to do the Kadri stuff first? Because I'm kind of sick of the Kadri stuff.
Let's just talk about Kadri.
And Nazem Kadri is driving the hockey world insane. It is currently August 2nd. He has not signed with a team.
In a way, it's kind of impressive.
Sure. Impressive. John Klingberg signed a 1-year deal. And when he was, I guess, hoping to get a 7-year deal, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, that was never going to happen.
But it sounds like Kadri, from what I have read recently, all signs point to the Islanders. So the Islanders have the cap space. They wouldn't really need to trade very much, I don't think, if anything, to get him. It said they did say they'd have to make some moves. They have $11 million in cap right now. They still need to sign Kiefer Bellows, Noah Dobson, and Alexander Romanov. So they would have to make a trade to be able to fit him under. You may be able to find someone to take a Casey Cizikas contract You might be able to find someone to take a JG Pageau contract.
Didn't they just re-sign Zizekas too?
He's got 4 years left on a $2.5 million deal. JG Pageau has 4 years left on a $5 million deal.
No.
Brock Nelson has 3 years left on a $6 million deal. So there are pieces. I mean, I'll take a Matt Barzal. You can trade me a Barzal all day.
Yeah, okay.
But
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I think they'd have to move at least one person to make room for a Kadri, as well as re-signing their RFAs.
I mean, they do have Oliver Wahlstrom they can send down. So really, they'd actually be, if they sent Wahlstrom down, because he's waiver eligible, or waivers exempt. I mean,
yep,
that puts him at 12. They could roll with 13 with him. But yeah, I mean, that 11.1 mil. Only one of the guys is arbitration eligible.
That's Kiefer Bellows.
Yeah, so the other two they just got a tender. I mean, yeah, you run into the whole offer sheet potential, but
let's
but
offer sheet Noah
does that
Dobson.
really happen though? That's the other thing about the offer sheet.
Unless you're being petty with Montreal, which is something else we need to touch on.
But it does seem that teams have gotten slightly more ruthless. I think
this is the perfect year to do it.
Sure. I mean, you're getting cap strapped. Again, it's stagnant cap. Stagnant cap has caused these situations.
Yeah.
Where you're looking at guys are not going to keep their earnings the same. The league making less money is not the player's problem. So flat
and
cap.
They didn't this year, which we know is a fact.
Flat cap, not the player's problem. So if you're going to see an offer sheet, and granted, you did see offer sheet for Kotkaniemi that was not matched, and he was able to go. And if you look, I mean, Kiefer Bellows, he's 24 years old. But what I'm looking at, Noah Dobson needs a contract. He's 22.
Ew.
Noah Dobson can be offer sheeted. Alexander Romanov cannot be offer sheeted. He's a 1002C. That does not allow for an offer sheet. So, I mean, if they're going to sign a Kadri, and if what was, I mean, quote unquote, reported, where Kadri wants in the neighborhood of 9 to 10 million on a 7-year deal.
No.
I mean,
does he really?
People are going to want to. You're going to have to clear space.
He's not getting that.
Did you see the season he had? That's what everyone.
Doesn't matter. He's not getting 9 or 10 million a year.
Even if he gets 8, they would only have 3. The Islanders would only have 3 million left over.
What's his predicted? Do you have that
I know you were going to ask me about this. I don't have it pulled up right now, but I can go
see what happens. I don't have it up, and I ask these questions.
You do. You ask the questions, even though if you're asking the questions, you should ask it and then immediately have an answer for me.
I don't know why you're yelling at me.
I would say he probably gets when it's all said and done, a 7 or an 8-year deal. Oh no, it can't be 8, right? So a 7-year deal, unless it's with the Avalanche, it could be 8. A 7-year deal worth 7.5 per.
So here's the predicted.
Somewhere around there.
The predicted contract is a 7-year contract at $8.469 million. So 7 years at $8.5 million. Again, the Islanders would still have to clear space.
Yep.
And if
now they're down to $3 million, because you got to think that they're going to give Dobson a bridge, which is going to be more than just the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got a guy going to arbitration. I mean, is there who is it that's on arbitration?
You are looking at. I didn't think someone was actually on arbitration from the Islanders, were they?
Wasn't it Bellows?
Kiefer Bellows can go to arbitration. Did he file?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, if he
I
filed,
didn't see him on the arbitration list, but I could be wrong.
So here's the fun one. So you look at Noah Dobson as a RFA status, signing with the same team, 8-year deal, 647, $6,476,000 is his projected contract per Evolving Hockey. Kiefer Bellows, on the other hand, 1 year, 939.
Kiefer Bellows did not file for arbitration.
No, so he's just okay.
Working out a contract.
Got it. So he's going to be more than probably that 1 million.
Yep. So again, they're in what
several
would
that
call
with Dobson, though. I'm not going to lie.
What several would call a pickle, and they're going to have to make some room. So they're going to have to get rid of one of their larger contracts for probably dirt cheap.
Which is
Romanov, where Steve Yzerman throws on his Batman mask and swoops in to make a trade. He takes a cap dump for a pick like he did with Mark Stahl, taking that second round pick to pick up Mark Stahl's contract. And I mean, there's several players on the list here that, because I think if Yzerman's going to make another move, there were also rumors that Kadri to Detroit was possible. I think those rumors only happened because we have money. And
Probably.
we signed Kopp. There's no need for a second line center again, unless your plan is to move Kopp to the wing. And I'm not moving Kopp to a third line center. That's a waste of money. What you would just spent to play on a third line center role.
Yeah, if you were going to sign Kadri, just sign Kadri initially.
Sure. Yep. And I mean, now if you did sign Kadri, maybe you put Kadri on the wing and maybe you flip him maybe you make if he was going to do a Klingberg type deal where you sign him for a year and flip him at the deadline, maybe he doesn't have his heart set somewhere. Maybe he wants to prove that he can repeat the season, because the season that he just had could totally be an anomaly. Maybe he wants to show he could. Now, I don't know, but maybe he could want to show that he could repeat this season. And then.
Yeah, but he's not going to have that roster of Colorado around him again.
No, but if he banks on himself and then gets flipped at the deadline to a team that says, hey, we want to extend you long term.
Yeah, but then, do you want to risk running into that potential Marian Hossa debacle in terms of now you're betting on yourself year to year, signing these 1-year deals? Not saying I'm not taking the route that he's going to follow Hossa and be like, oh, I'm hurt now, I can't play, blah, blah, blah. But are you going to risk losing security, if you will?
I guess that
potentially money, but I mean, Klingberg
got
got paid more than what he was expected to get. So I guess in a way you could say that he won. But now you've got the opportunity to get traded, which I think he's got a weird no trade up until around the deadline or January.
Yeah, but
or
10-team no trade. Yep.
So, I mean, it's possible. I mean, you could potentially get more money, but again, you look at the teams that have cap space, and not many of them are good.
Yeah, well, that tends to be a trend, Ryan. It's
weird how that happens.
So, like I said,
he could go to Anaheim.
Sure.
They've got the cap space and they've got a roster that he could fit in with potentially.
He could go to Arizona and get a 7-year deal worth $10 million per, if that's what he really wants.
Does that come with an honorary degree? That 7-year from
Arizona State Coyotes there.
So and again, I think that people like Merrick bring it up and people like Friedman bring it up because we have the money. I don't think we really have the need anymore. The need is not there because like I said, we signed an Andrew Kopp. And if we wanted a Kadri, I mean, Kadri would have been our target to begin with.
Didn't Kopp play on the wing a lot with Winnipeg though, if I'm not mistaken?
Kopp has played both wing and center.
So, I mean, I guess the only thing is if you wanted Kadri, if Yzerman thought that was the second line center and he wanted to move Kopp to the wing,
he could. But I mean, Yzerman did say...
I mean, because think about it, like a lot of general managers and even coaches like to have two centers on the ice at the same time. And obviously that's a luxury thing to have, but like, I don't know. I feel like if you could make it work, then it probably makes you a playoff team today. But sure. I mean, they don't need to go out and do it. If it falls in your lap and, Kadri wants to come to Detroit and it's a good deal, I don't see why not. But I don't see it happening, especially given the fact that, what did you say? He was looking for a 7 or an 8-year deal worth $10 million per?
Yeah, 9 to 10, but Evolving Hockey projects a 7 at 8.5.
Yeah.
Even then, I mean, I guess the cap is going up, so I guess, but I mean, the Wings wouldn't do that. I mean,
is he going to pull a Zach Parise or not Parise, Joe Pavelski and maintain that style of play at 38 years old?
And the other thing you got to look at too is by the time the season starts, I think he'll be 32. So he's an older player. He is good for a team that is going to be in the playoffs starting next season or already has been in the playoffs and is just trying to get over that hump.
Yeah.
I think he'd be good in a Calgary
right before the start of the season.
He could go to Calgary and be their first line center.
I think
Or second
Calgary
line
would be a
center.
good fit for him after losing out on Johnny Gaudreau and then
For his
having
type of play and
Chucky.
what Calgary does, it would absolutely make sense out there.
So I think that's a possibility too. Another, but I mean, like I said a little bit ago, is that Yzerman, I don't think that's the kind of deal he makes. I think if Yzerman makes any more deals before the season, it's cap dump type deals where he takes on bad contracts, or like we'll talk about maybe an offer sheet. And one of the kind of other rumors that's swirling around is that the Montreal Canadiens are looking at picking up a PK Subban. They have $248,000 in cap space left. There was an article, I can't recall who wrote it. I think it may have been someone from the Hockey Writers that said maybe Mike Hoffman would be a fit in Detroit on a kind of Mark Stahl type deal where you take his $4.5 million contract he only has 2 years left on from Montreal. You maybe get Montreal's second round pick. They've got 2 firsts next season, so I don't think they'd care about giving up their second. You maybe take that pick and a Mike Hoffman so they can sign a PK Subban.
Mm-hmm.
And then you turn around and offer sheet Kirby Dach because Kirby Dach does not have a contract right now. And if you offered Kirby Dach a 2-year contract at a $3 million cap hit, you would only have to give them a second round pick. So you would just take their second and then give it right back to them.
Well, would it be? We don't get to choose which second round.
It's the highest. I think if you have your original, it's your pick. So we would give them our pick and we would still have theirs.
So that'd be perfect.
It'd be hilarious. It'd be okay.
I mean,
if
you
you
even
ever
talked
wanted,
about Doc before he got traded out by Chicago. How
Yeah.
great of an idea it could be to go offer sheet him or at least get his rights.
Yep.
Now we can just go steal him. While
I don't
taking
see anyone
cap.
helping Montreal out. Do you?
No. And
Hey,
that
but
would be
no.
hockey comedy. That would be comedy at its finest. Is you like, yeah, I'm going to work with you. I'll take Mike Hoffman off your hands. Give us a second round pick. We'll take Hoffman. You can go sign PK Subban to whatever ridiculous
We'll
contract
give him like
he
Giovanni
wants.
Smith back.
So I think PK might. I want to look up what his projection is too, because he's making a lot of money right now, and he's not going to be making that much money going forward. I don't think. So
There's
PK
no way he
Subban,
makes that kind of. What was he making? Like 7.5 a year, something like
I
that.
thought it was more than that.
He's predicted at 3 mil.
3 years. 3 years,
3 years.
almost 4 mil.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
pretty.
that's about right.
At 33 years old, that's not bad for a guy that. I mean, the skating's not like it used to be. He used to be able to fly all over the ice.
Yeah, I think what's funny about it too. So his last PK Subban's last contract was a 8-year contract, 8 years, 72 million. So 9 million per season is what he was on. Now he's going to drop down to maybe 4. And if you take, like I said, if you take Mike Hoffman's 4.5, that opens them up. They can sign him to a little under $4 million contract. Then you offer Kirby Dach that $3 million contract. They will not have the means to match it.
I
And
mean,
you just throw the pick back over the wall. Which,
Subban's still an offensive threat out there. So,
but the way I look at it is that if you get that second round pick from Montreal, and then you have to give them your second round pick for an offer sheet, I still think our second round pick will be later in the draft because I still think Montreal is going to be really bad. So wouldn't that be funny? They give us Mike Hoffman. We also get Kirby Dach, and we move up in the second round just for fun.
I like where your head's at. I want this to happen now, just out of simple, absolute chaos.
It's
I think
maximum chaos.
Twitter would burn down. If
Oh,
that were
totally.
the case.
Habs Twitter would be lay sad with that move. I mean, it's
Lay sad.
they'd be lay sad. And there again, Habs Twitter is one of the most insufferable fan bases on the face of the planet, and just to watch their collective minds explode if something like that happened would be one of the best things that I think we would ever see, and it would go down as like one of the best moves any sport general manager has ever made.
And it
Just
would
because
be a
of how
total
funny.
troll job too.
And
Oh,
that's
it'd be perfect.
and that's a complete Yzerman move, isn't it? Like, you look at Steve Yzerman and some of the stuff he's done, you gotta be like, Yzerman is got to turn himself into like one of the biggest trolls in hockey. And it would just be, I just think it would be really funny. I think it would be very funny.
You look at Subban on JFresh, his projected WAR is 40%, but his EV offense is 86.
He's an offensive defenseman.
And his primary assist per 60 is 84. Like his even strength stats for evolving hockey are he's pretty stout. He's got 3 and 5 total goals above replacement for even strength offense. And he's even above on defense too.
Yeah,
Kirby Dach just feels to me like a player that's like on the cusp of becoming like a really, really good player. I feel like that situation in Chicago is an absolute joke, and we all know that. And it was going to be even worse this year. But Montreal it's not much better, I don't think, is it?
So
no. Here's
one for you. Now, I forget, and this happens, I think, every single year. With Detroit, with Wallman going to arbitration, because they're going to does it have to get to arbitration and they get that additional buyout, or is it if they sign beforehand they don't get the additional buyout?
I think that they just have to elect for arbitration.
So by electing, are you looking it up? Because it's going to bug me. Because confirm that for me. Because that's going to drive my point that I'm going to try to make here, and to make it so that your crazy trade and offer sheet would actually work.
Says clubs are permitted to perform a buyout outside the regular period during the 48-hour period beginning on the third day after the final of the CBA, settlement of the club's final arbitration case, or receipt of the club's last arbitration reward. So he has to go to arbitration. So
they can't settle.
It doesn't look like it.
All right. So Detroit goes to ARB with Wallman. So this is like the Bertuzzi situation.
I love how we're getting all galaxy brain with this. Continue.
Oh yeah, tinfoil hat is on thick. So they go to ARB. It's decided, signed, whatever. Don't really care what the contract is. They're fine. It's probably 1, maybe 2 years or 1 year done. Now you go buy out Adam Ernie. There's an additional roster spot, which now leaves you open to make your trade for Mike Hoffman while absorbing a second-round pick and sending back either a cheap roster player or another pick in the deal there. But this also sets you up perfectly to go make that offer sheet because you've got the roster space available.
Yep.
Does it interrupt a guy like maybe a Soderblom here in the next couple of years or a Berggren? Worth it. Hoffman's only there for 2 years. He fits the typical contract plan at $4 million. I'm not worried about that. Yeah. Kirby Dach, you can sign him. You can put him on a bridge. He'll probably sign a bridge for you. Well, no, you're going to be if you're going to offer sheet him, that puts him at $3 million. Okay. You still got that's $7 million in cap space.
You don't think they would match that because they can?
So we're at $9 million in cap space. We still have $2 million in cap space, right? We have $11 million.
Yeah, well, we've got around 11 million. We got actually, I think, a little under 11. But Tyler, they can go 10% over the cap.
10.2.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I thought it was 20. Yeah, 10%. You're right. Over.
They can go 10% over the cap. They do have Jonathan Drouin on IR right now. So that's 5.5 million that they can go over the cap before they do their 10% over the cap. So they could match the offer sheet, but then they would have to do more messing around with trading people. And at that point, do they want to? I mean, Kirby Dach, again, they did just get him. So there's that. But
buying out Adam Ernie saves you $1.6 million. Cap hit of 500,000 this year, 800 next year.
And if you look at Mike Hoffman too, I mean, Mike Hoffman was not terrible. I mean,
he scored against us a couple times.
He's
only good for offense, but
yeah.
It.
I mean, he's 32 years old.
Also a nut job.
He had 35 points in 67 games last season, which the season before he had 36 and 52, and then in 2019-20 he had 59 and 69. Nice, but 6 foot, 180 pounds. I mean, again, like Ryan said, he's got some baggage that he brings with him.
No, it's his wife. Wasn't it his wife that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't
might have
him in
been
particular.
both of them, but the thing is if you can get him and then he ends up turning around and being okay, and then you
he's the
flip him
goal
at the
scorer
deadline,
that we've seen.
sure. And then you flip him at the deadline, Ryan. You flip him at the deadline and get more picks. Like this is maximum like fire, fire Elmo gif.
You got Jay Fresh shit up, throw him on your roster builder and remove out like Adam Ernie.
So this isn't like tinfoil hat. This is like NHL 22 GM mode is what this is.
Oh, it absolutely is.
And
I know you're probably listening to this. Go pull this shit off.
It all gets accepted. But I think that if you like, that would be, I think that one maximum chaos would be the funniest way to go with this.
Will any of that happen? Nope.
No, none of this will happen. And I swear to God, Steve Yzerman, I know you're not listening, but if you are, please do it because it would be the funniest thing on the face of the planet.
I'll watch Habs fans suffer.
The Habs fan implosion would just be the best part of this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a move that would be funny. Now back in reality, I think Yzerman could maybe take Mike Hoffman's contract for a pick, and that would help out Montreal Canadiens a clear cap space to sign someone like a PK Subban. And why do they want
Subban so bad? Just for the reunion?
No, I think it is. I think it's because they need defense. Yeah, I mean,
they've got 6 guys under contract. Your highest paid guy is Michael Matheson.
Yeah,
and they just traded Romanov out too. To get Kirby Doc, right? Wasn't that the 3-way deal during the draft?
No, Romanov is he Calgary?
No, they traded Romanov away to the Islanders.
Islanders, yeah, that's what we were just looking at. Duh.
Yeah. I mean, like Ryan said, Michael Matheson is their top paid defenseman right now, followed by Joel Edmondson, David Savard, Justin Barron, Jordan Harris, and Chris Weidman.
Yeah, that 2 guys that are waiver exempt.
That is their main defensive core right now, which looks you look at that and you go, okay, I know who David Savard is. That's basically what you're looking at. And PK Subban would help him out.
Yeah, I think Caden Gooley is the guy that is going to be coming up for the Canadiens this year. They also signed Madison Bowie.
Oh, they did. That guy? I forgot about that.
Yeah, but he's. I mean, even as the names that we mentioned on their current active roster, I don't think he's better than. I mean, he could be better than Barron and Harris. I don't really know, but.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do. Like I said, there's still moves to be made around the league before next month is preseason. I mean, we're in August. September is preseason.
Not only that, but just think of some of the names. Like PK Subban, Phil Kessel. I mean, Bergeron is almost all but certain going back to Boston.
That was another one that someone linked to Montreal was Phil Kessel. It's like, where are they going to get all this money from?
There's still some names out there that either they're not ready to hang him up.
No, especially someone like Kessel. Kessel got that Iron Man streak, which he stepped on the ice for like 30 seconds and then flew home for the birth of his child.
So he got paid $9 million to only put up 22 points in 77 games.
And I will tell you
that was Subban. I'm sorry, wrong name.
If
52 points in 82 games. It was for $8 million.
If Phil Kessel goes to Montreal, the only reason he will be going there is for the hot dogs. That's it.
The glizzies
at the Forum, man. Because the Forum apparently has the best hot dogs in all of the NHL and maybe the planet. But
that's Fenway Park and the Franks.
I've never been to Fenway Park, Tyler.
I've been there once and it's fantastic.
Honestly, Fenway Franks overrated. Get a sausage if you come to Fenway.
That's what she said.
There's my soapbox moment.
If you come to Detroit, you get the winter sausage, and the winter sausages are delicious.
I don't know what a winter sausage is. What is that?
It's the Winters is the company. It's a brat. Or you go to LCA and hopefully the sausage house is open.
Oh, it's so good.
Unless Isaac's there. If Andy Isaac's there, then the sausage house will definitely be closed. What's up? It's Greg here from the Grindline Podcast with a message from Manscaped. Growing out your playoff beard, let that thing loose up top, but our friends at Manscaped are here to help you avoid a jumbo Joe downstairs. The global leaders in below-the-waist grooming want to save your hockey pucks from a slap shot in crunch time this playoff season. 4 million men worldwide trust Manscaped to prepare them for the Stanley Cup. Join them and go to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code GRINDLINE. Shaving your balls starts with a perfect package for your package, the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and has a 400K LED spotlight when you need a more precise shave. The Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer is also included in this package, which is also waterproof, uses skin-safe technology, so you can keep the unnecessary roughness on the ice where it belongs. There is no more pinching. There is no more pulling. There's no more crying because you're ripping out your nose hairs. Shaves them clean off with no issues at all whatsoever. The Crop Preserver is an anti-chafing ball deodorant to keep your balls sticking to your legs from end to end. No one will be chirping you anymore. The Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls. It's made with soothing aloe and witch hazel extracts that will give your balls a boost. Manscaped even threw in their Shed travel bag. Amazing bag, super soft, has just enough room for all the tools plus some extras. It's not too big. My problem is generally that the bags are too small and cannot fit everything, so I end up throwing extra stuff in a backpack. This bag is just the right size. The boys will be buzzing this Stanley Cup lineup from Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code GRINDLINE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code GRINDLINE at manscaped.com. Don't be a goon fighting your bush with the wrong trimmer. Choose the right tools for the job this playoff season with Manscaped.
I think the only food I've ever eaten in Little Caesars Arena is Little Caesars, because when I'm drunk, I like to eat pizza.
Well, what's weird is that their pizza there is actually better than
It is better.
No, it
especially
is.
the box pizza.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like the single slice. That's what I mean. Sorry.
Okay. So I've had the pizza. Let's go. We'll just do this. I've had the pizza at LCA. The pizza is good. So are the breadsticks.
Mike's Pizza Bar is also good though.
Very good.
Yep, I agree.
But
Yes.
if I'm rating places to eat, like just quick get food, Sausage House is number one.
Yep.
I've had 3 of different sausages from there, and they are all phenomenal.
You can put on whatever you want for it,
Yep.
and it's all fresh right there.
Yeah,
Nice
that
and
will be happening next time. Well, opening night.
opening night,
Yep.
man.
Speaking of 2 days, tickets go on pre-sale.
Opening night will be real
Those-
interesting. I will
Already
be
got them.
I will
August
be
4th.
flying back from Orlando that morning. I have a work trip in Orlando that is 5 days long, and then I will be coming home that morning to put on my jersey, probably hungover, and then make my way to LCA.
So wait, Tyler, what time are you showing up? Speaking of flying,
I don't have the flight details. My dad has them, but I'll
you
get them.
said
to
you got the tickets.
His
I
dad
didn't
got
buy
the
them.
tickets.
Yeah, I need those deets.
Need the deets.
I'll get you the deets.
Get me the deets, Tyler.
Let's see. What day is that? Thursday. Are you coming in Thursday or
Thursday,
Friday?
yeah. If that's all right.
Yeah, well, Kim Possible gets the deets over there. I think that
Thursday night will work.
there's not much else happening in Red Wings land right now. It is confirmed that that Casper is going back to Rogla.
Good. I like
He
that.
posted some stuff on it that he will be going back. Tony Ferrari did a sweet write-up on the prospect pool where he gives
need to
them
read
a
that.
glowing review. If you go check his work out at the Hockey News, he's just doing God's work out there, just praising Steve
Favorite-
Yzerman all day.
Favorite bald analyst who's a closet Red Wings fan. He says he's a Leafs fan. I don't buy it.
No, I mean, at this point, a lot of people are Red Wings fans. If we were talking, I was talking to Daniela, because Daniela, if you haven't seen also her spot on NHL Network, it was very good, where
Yeah,
she
it
covered the
was.
Red Wings. And I was going back and forth with her on Twitter. And I think that the NHL, this is going to be the season where the NHL will not be able to ignore the Red Wings. The Red Wings are going to have the
That your
talent.
words or her words?
My words.
Okay.
That I don't think they're going to be able to. There are going to be storylines. You've got David Perron, who, if you read the Athletic article about
Whoa.
David Perron, how he was snubbed by the Blues, and that really kind of pissed him off to the point
I
where
don't-
he said before he thought he could retire and just live in the St. Louis area. Now he doesn't know if he's going to be able to do that. And
I mean, when you've got it to the kid, I mean, granted, at 5 and 7, your kids are going to be emotional no matter what happens.
yeah,
But like when they're in the story that you're just referenced, that all of them were crying about having to leave St. Louis. Like,
Yep.
I now have a new hatred for St. Louis after reading that article.
so now you've got Dave the David Perron storyline. You've got a storyline of what could possibly be one of the best very young goaltender tandems in the entire league. You've got Mo Calder is what I'm going to call him now. Mo Sider coming off of his Calder season. You've got Lucas Raymond, who made the all-rookie team, who could break out again. You've got Dylan Larkin coming off his tear of a season last season.
You got Verana coming in, hopefully healthy.
You've got hopefully Verana for a whole season. There's going to be storylines coming.
You got
out
a
of
potential another Calder winner in Simon Edvinsson.
You could have Edvinsson come in and challenge for Calder.
Depends on where he starts, but yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
There's going
I
to
wouldn't
be
count
so
on
many.
it, but it's certainly a possibility, I would say.
Well, if Edvinsson comes in and even gets to 3/4 of what Mo is doing, at that point, you're going to have two really, really high. I mean, I already say Mo Seider is a top 10 defenseman in the league. And I think as the season went on and after he won the Calder and you go back and look at it and you rank him, I think he's there. I think he's in the top 10. If you get Edvinsson in there, I mean, and you've got maybe two of the best, I'm not going to say best defensemen in the league, but if Edvinsson could become in his first season a top pairing defenseman and they're both under 23, I mean, that's absolutely insane. So there's, I mean, storyline after storyline after storyline, I think to the point where the NHL is nationally not going to be able to ignore the Detroit Red Wings.
It'll be fun to watch Nick Kostanica because he covers a lot of the wing stuff and he's obviously writing for NHL.com. So if you start seeing a lot of smoke coming out of him, that's going to be a good thing.
I also think that ESPN did a pretty good job in terms of talking about the Wings on their shows and especially
I think they
early
did a
in
good
the
job
season.
of spreading out coverage.
Yeah, early in the season, I thought like Bucci and a lot of those guys were kind of pumping the Wings tires. And when Bucci would come in to do the games, like he was pretty high on the Red Wings. And, you know, even when they were going through their dry spell that they were going through halfway through the season, or, you know, when stuff started to go south, like they were still kind of pumping the Wings tires and still putting the Wings on, you know, pretty marquee games on ESPN. So like, I feel like ESPN just still hasn't gotten the memo that it's not 1990 anymore. But, you know, I do think on a serious note, though, I do think that the good times are coming. And I think that rightfully so, what Greg said, they're going to have no choice but to talk about the Red Wings because there's just so much to talk about. And not to mention that you have one of the best general managers in the National Hockey League, maybe the best general manager. He hasn't gotten his Stanley Cup yet, but that's going to come at some point. I know we kind of give him the Tampa Bay ones, but he wasn't really there. So
yeah, he built the team though.
And that's kind of where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's going to get one at some point. And I mean, when he does, we're all going to be like,
oh, the moment
this was going to happen at some point. But
if Detroit manages to win a Stanley Cup with Steve Yzerman at the helm as the GM, and they know not only do they do it, but if they manage to win it at home, there's going to be, I think, more excitement when he gets to touch the cup than whoever's the captain at that point in time.
I think that we are going to do a live broadcast from the parade when that happens.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
We will be broadcasting live from the Detroit Red Wings Stanley Cup parade. But I think another storyline going into the season is coaching. And that's too, I mean, you got Derek Lalonde, who's in his first head coaching job. And if he just excels from the start, and I'm going to knock on wood because I'm not going to jinx myself, but if he excels from the start, I mean, and we get off to a hot start, because look at the hot start Jeff Blashill got off to last season. And you've got, again, a better team this season. You've got better, you made your defense formidable. And that's one thing that people have already started to talk about, is you went from having possibly the league's worst defense to putting together a formidable defensive core that will be able to stop pucks, but then can also provide some offense. And if he can get off to the same kind of start that Blash did and sustain it, then you're looking at a wild card spot. And that's another storyline. Red Wings go from dead to alive with new coaching, with the moves Yzerman made in the offseason, with rookies, and maybe Berggren comes in, Edvinsson, and there's just a lot to. And again, we're talking positively. It's amazing. Welcome to the Positive Grindline Podcast Hour, where we talk positively about the team because there are positive things to talk about. And you just get all these happy, fun storylines going in where we're going to hopefully have a hard time finding negative things to talk about.
Well, the other one we're not talking about either is a second year for Lucas Raymond.
Yeah.
Where how much better can he go from year 1 to year 2?
I did say something about this, and I will find the tweet while you're talking.
I just think that the sky's the limit for the Wings. I really do. I just think that I'm not saying playoffs because I don't want to be that person to say playoffs, but I think that there's a strong chance that they're playing important games down the stretch in March and April. And I think that's really kind of the goal here. I think you're trying to build towards where you want to be, which is, a playoff team, and then to go from a playoff team to a contender. And then I guess to go from that jump from a contender to a Stanley Cup contender is a whole different thing. But I mean, if there's a guy that can put the team in the right position to do that, it's Steve Yzerman. Now the team has to go out there and do it. There's been Brian, I don't have to remind you, Greg, I don't have to remind you, Dombrowski put the Tigers in great spots to win World Series, and it just didn't happen.
Yep.
So I mean, sometimes it just doesn't happen. But if there's a guy that's going to put the team in the right position to win a championship, it's Steve Yzerman. And I mean, that's all you can really hope for as a fan. And then, a lot of it comes down to luck after that, unfortunately.
So who had the correct prediction before the season on Lucas Raymond? This guy. I said 50 points, 25-25. He did 23 and 35 for 57.
What did I have?
I'd have to go back and look, but you guys were both
Okay.
wrong.
No, you don't have to go back and look.
Well, I'd have to go back and listen because I don't think I actually put mine out there.
So, no, we did. We all predicted, and I was correct.
No, I have to go and listen to it again.
So, I think next season, Tyler, Lucas Raymond, 35 goals, 45 assists for 80 points.
Ooh.
Wow.
See, now that's what we're talking about. That's exactly like the ascension, if that's a word, that we're looking
That
for.
is a word.
Proper
that
use.
means to go
That's very
up.
good.
Proper use, eh? No, like I said, that's the ascension that we're hoping for. We don't want him to go from 50 points backwards to 48 or 47.
We don't want him to slump like Larkin did in his sophomore year.
Yeah.
Right. Larkin had that really hot start and he kind of hit a wall and then he picked it back up. And then the second year was kind of, you're right, like a sophomore slump kind of thing. I don't think we're in for that, just given the fact of how talented this team's going to be and how talented the guys that Lucas Raymond's going to be playing with.
I will tell you that Adam Ernie will not be on the top line at all anymore next season. So
no more Luke Glendennings on the top line. No more Adam Ernie's on the top line.
I think the big one for me, if we see that same output from Raymond on the power play, that's going to be huge. And you got to feel like for the moves they made that the power play will be better. So you got to make the assumption, of course, that that's going to go up because he had 5 goals, 13 assists on the power play. And then couple that with the fact that now you've got a better roster behind you outside of just your top 6, opening up hopefully more opportunity. And that also gives you the flexibility to move him around in your top 6, not necessarily just strictly top line minutes, because you're not going to be hurt if, say, you dropped him down to the first line and you've got Verana with Burt and Larkin, and then your second line's Kopp, Perron, and Raymond.
Yep.
I think you're going to be okay either way. Now, granted, everyone needs to be healthy, but I don't think you're too crazy. I mean, I think just getting to 60 points, 70 maybe, would be a huge win. Anything more than what he's got now, obviously, is an improvement. That's the simplest way to put it, of course. So I would shoot for 70. I think that's a win, but I mean, with this roster, who knows what could happen?
Is it a stretch to say that? I shouldn't say that. Someone said that if the Wings make the playoffs, it'll be a miracle. I don't think it would be a miracle.
No.
I really don't.
I mean, we talked about this, was it last week with Keith, about how, or a couple weeks ago, like the distribution of points is likely going to happen this year. You're not going to see, ideally, and this is just us being back to the tinfoil hat, teams running away with the division and the conference.
I don't think so.
So you've got to assume, hopefully, again, that those points are getting distributed amongst some of these lower tier teams like Detroit, and they're stealing some games. But if you've got Lucas Raymond now putting up 70 points or more, that's likely stealing games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look
especially
same thing,
you talk
Mo
about the
Seider
goaltending too. The goaltending should be better.
will be better.
It will, it will
Has
be
to be.
better. It has to be
Well,
better.
the defense has to be better. The goal, if that's the case, then the goaltending will be better.
Ned's not going to be playing as much. He's not going to be in a stretch where he plays 8-9 games in a row without much of a breather.
And he's gonna have a better defense in front of him.
A better defense, and then I think we're going to score more too, so that's going to help as well.
So what you're saying is there's not going to be any more 11-2 blowouts against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think those days
or
are
9
gone.
to whatever against Arizona. But the other part too is Mo Seider had 7 goals and 43 assists in 50 games last season. So let's bump his goals up to 15. Let's bump his assists up to 55.
Okay.
So you're looking right there at a 70-point season for Mo. And I mean, as a defenseman, the only people that do stuff like that are who? Cale Makar?
Old Eric Carlson.
Well, old Eric
Young
Carlson.
Eric Carlson, I guess I should say.
Yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean age Eric Carlson. I mean, Cale Makar had 86 points in 77 games last season.
Yeah, Roman Yossi.
Victor Hedman had 85 points in 82 games. So in year 2, if you look back at Makar's second season, he had 44 points in 44 games. So he was a point per game player in 2020-21. If Mo Seider could get up to 70, if Mo Seider could get 70 points in 82 games, even though he is a more defensive guy, he has the offense. Ben Sherratt could free him up a lot more to do what he needs to do, run around, shoot pucks, whatever. He has no problem laying the body himself. If you could get Mo to 70 points, if you can get Lucas Raymond to 80, if you can have Larkin hit his, and if Lucas Raymond's getting 80 points, Larkin at this point is over a point per game. Maybe Larkin's a 95-point guy.
He's finally hitting that point per game or more. You've got Bert. The last couple of years, those 2 guys outside of injuries were playing at a near point a game pace.
You've got
now they're over that. Add a healthy Verana, add David Perron, add a Dominic Kulik, add a Andrew Kopp.
This could be
the worst power play in the league.
And again, we're blue skying. I mean, this could be a very dangerous team next season. And I think that's what we're most excited
entirely
about.
let down.
Oh yeah, it could go either way. I mean,
but as a sports fan, you want you want to look for your team to. I shouldn't say be positive because as a sports fan you have to be objective too. But in this case, I feel like you have to be excited for what's to come. There's a lot of good things to be excited about. Now, there's certain things that there's questions about, like how's the power play going to look? Is it going to be better? What are the specialty teams in general going to look like? But, I mean, overall, the roster is much better than it was on opening night last year, and that's all you can ask for.
I mean, if you got Mo Seider coming in at an Adam Fox clip, what he was at this past year, he was at 74 points. And unless I missed somebody, because I'm not on like ESPN or something or NHL.com, that 74 points for defenseman was number 4 scoring defenseman. John Carlson was right after that at 71. If that's where Mo's at, he's a top 5 scoring defenseman in the league.
As well as being one of the top defensive defensemen in the league.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That is, granted, it's not a Roman Yossi who had 96 points this year. But if you're just top 10 in scoring as a defenseman, like in this group, like along with this, you got Quinn Hughes, Chris Letang, which is still surprising to me, Morgan Riley, and then got to keep going down. Sorry, it's got everyone here, but you get where I'm going with it. And Aaron Ekblad had 57, and he was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the 10th highest scoring defenseman in the league.
Yeah. It'll be
and
interesting.
Guess who wasn't very far behind that?
Yeah, Mo.
Exactly.
So I think it'll be interesting going into next season. I think that's all the stuff we have for tonight. Again, next week, Nyquist will be coming on to talk Red Wings hockey and the outlook on next season and why he's excited for the moves that they made. But I want to get you guys' final thoughts before we sign off. And I'm going to start with Ryan because Tyler looks disengaged. So I'm going to start with Ryan.
No, I don't really have much tonight. I mean, it's
slow.
I'm afraid of how excited we get right now. Only because
get excited. This is the season to get excited, Ryan.
Excited.
I don't want to say that I was excited for the Tigers, but I also wasn't expecting to be so fucking disappointed.
Oh yeah, no. Same.
So I'm trying not to get to that level because I mean I didn't think it could be much worse for the Tigers, and it actually has been. So, but it's hard not to get excited for what the Red Wings potentially have upcoming this season. And it's not only in Detroit, but also what could be in Grand Rapids compared to last year. So, I mean, if we don't have Edvinson here, then now you're going to have him with potentially Bergeron, Soderblom, and Chase Pearson.
Yep.
A lot of young talent down there. Donovan Sabrango, who just also got announced as the an assistant captain for Team Canada.
Yep.
I mean, there's
as well as Kosa making Team Canada.
Yep. Sorry. So there's a lot of excitement here and at the AHL level. And that's a good thing. We haven't had that in a really long time. Maybe Grand Rapids, maybe, but yeah, I don't. And the fact that we're only how far out from camp? A month and a half. Yeah, no, it's exciting. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, guys, all I care about at this point is just stay healthy. So maybe it's going to be different because most of the guys are going to be here stateside. Not a lot of people, hopefully not too many coming back from Europe in the sort, but I don't know. We'll see. So already Ryan 33.
Yeah, my final thoughts are kind of going back to what Ryan said, the World Juniors. I've always been a huge World Juniors fan, and I know a lot of friends of mine and people that follow me on Twitter, big World Junior fans. And so, I mean, we got 6 more days until the World Junior starts. So there will be hockey on TV in the middle of August, which is fantastic. And not only just hockey, but it's, some of the brightest young stars in the, upcoming NHL draft and that have already been drafted and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that, to see how the United States plays. And most importantly, how the Wings prospects play in the World Juniors. I didn't look at Team Sweden, so I'm not sure on if there's any Swedish prospects.
You need to look at Team USA.
There is a couple on Team USA, right?
Carter Mazer and I believe Red Savage and maybe Robert Mastrosimone.
Mastrosimone, I thought, made it as well. Because I don't know, are the rosters officially out?
Not all of them. Elite Prospect, or not Elite Prospects. Team Canada released theirs
today.
So
I saw.
Yeah, I haven't seen an official. I haven't seen an official Team USA roster. I know there are still cuts to be made. I think they have to be made in the next couple days.
Well, anyways, looking forward to the World Juniors because at that point it's pretty much all steam ahead, to hockey season. We get the World Juniors. I think it starts on the 9th and ends on the 20th or something like that. And then you only have a couple more weeks until NHL training camps open up. And from there, it's full steam ahead. It's hockey from October until, whenever it ends, hopefully in the playoffs. But those are my final thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at SealDog91.
So right now they're looking at they have 15 forwards on their roster for the 2022 World Junior Championships. The 2 Red Wings that are on for Team USA are Carter Mazer and Red Savage. Those are the ones that are still on that could be cut, but the cuts have not happened yet. So my final thoughts are going to be, I am choosing to go into this season excited, blissfully excited, just stupid, to the point of where we haven't been able to be this excited before.
But again, get our picks in writing this time.
Yeah, we're gonna write them down. But again, go enter our contest. Go give money to Vladdy, win a signed book, maybe win some shirts. Go in there and just, we want to do all we can on that. front. We're going to try and get some other stuff together in that respect as well. If you go to, again, you follow me online at Bring the Wing. You follow Grindline Podcast online at Grindline Pod. We like to give a shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network at HockeyPodNet on Twitter for spreading us around and hosting us and keeping our podcast up there and getting us in front of new people. We've grown exponentially recently. I mean, for the year, we're at over 12,000 unique listeners. So thank everyone who is listening to us out there all over the world. I also like to give a shout out to Bring Hockey Back. Yeah, where if you use the code Grindline, you get 12% off your order. If you use that same promo code on Howie's Hockey Tape, you get 10% off your order. We also give a shout out to Manscaped, where if you use the promo code Grindline, you get 20% off plus free shipping. And a shout out to Vintage Detroit, which is the only place you should get your Detroit jerseys. I don't think you're going to be getting a Tigers jersey anytime soon.
Don't tell Detroit Dan that.
You can get your Red Wings jersey even if they change makers to Fanatics. You'll be able to get them there. But that is going to do it for us tonight. So for Ryan and Tyler, I am Greg. You stay classy, Hockey Town.